Welcome to Silent Wisdom. This is Muni. Today I'm going to talk about purification in speech and its importance in the life of a spiritual seeker. When we talk about purification, it happens at various levels. Purification of the environment, body, feelings, thoughts, emotions, intellect, behavior, and of course, speech. So today we will focus on purification of the speech. Why is it important? How does that make the life of a spiritual seeker easy or difficult? What are the ways of purifying the speech? And what are the benefits of having a purified speech? Speech, as you know, is a means of communication. It is an expression of our thoughts, feelings, and emotions. It is a window into our mind. By what we speak, we allow others to see how our mind is organized. And if the mind is beautiful, organized well, and aware, then the speech naturally is going to be very powerful and very effective. So while there are many impurities in speech which are there, I'm going to talk about 5 major impurities which are very common and almost all of us have them. And I will also share with you how to purify those things, sharing with you some practical tips. So let us start with the first impurity, which is excessive speech, endless talking. We also call it sometimes verbal diarrhea. You must have seen there are people who have this tendency to keep talking, and all their talk is absolutely aimless. There is no purpose. They just love to talk, and they would be talking about anything. It could be about movies. It could be about what they have eaten. What did they speak to another person? What they were saying, third person, fourth person. They just go on talking. It's kind of an addiction. And for a spiritual seeker, if you have that kind of an addiction, it is definitely going to cause a lot of harm, because excessive and aimless speech is a sign of an unaware mind. You will also find sometimes that people who talk a lot of negative things. They're either complaining about others, or they are saying how angry or upset they are with others because what they have done to them. And they will go on and on about it. In fact, every time you meet them, they will repeat the same stories of complaining and negativity. If you are a spiritual seeker and you have a tendency to speak aimlessly or speak negatively, then you need to be more mindful. We'll talk about it as I share with you more practices in purification. The second very common impurity in speech is using vulgar speech. And you will find sometimes even the most educated people using bad words or unkind or impolite words in their speech. And they think they are being very hip. They think it gives them a little kind of a power, a sense of superiority when they are calling others by vulgar names, not realizing that what it shows up is the vulgarity of their own mind. It has nothing to do with the other person. What we speak about others does not tell us about others. It tells us about who we are. So spiritual seekers need to be very mindful of the words that they use. Sometimes it happens because of bad company, because people around you speak like that. So you need to be, again, checking what kind of company you have and do you need to change that. The third impurity that we find is people not being mindful of others' space when talking. So they can be either very loud, or in public places, you will find them speaking or screaming on their phones, or even you will find such people at the airports, at restaurants. They are talking loudly on the phone, just not sensitive to how it might be impacting other people. Another added thing is, you will find many people, when they are in conversation with you and a phone will ring, they will pick up the phone in between and start talking to the person on the phone. What do these things show? These things show an insensitive mind, a mind which is not sensitive to other people, which is only thinking of its own self. And for a spiritual seeker, this will not help at all. So be mindful, being mindful of when you speak, how you speak, and how does it impact other people. That is definitely something very important. The fourth impurity in speech, which is again very common, is manipulative and negative speech. We all know such kind of people. They are mostly negative. As I mentioned even earlier, whenever you meet them, their conversations start with complaining about their life, about their situations, or about what other people have done to them. What happens is that they have a lot of negativity in themselves. And by just all they are trying to do is unburdening themselves by sharing it with you. Once in a while, when you are talking to your friends and you need to unburden yourself, which is fine. But these are the people who do that repeatedly, and their negativity only tends to keep increasing. So if you start your day talking to such people, you will find that you have also become negative. Also, they are manipulators. They are generally negative, but whenever they will have some work from you, then they know how to soften their speech, or how to use kind words or say nice things. And the moment their work is done, they will again go back to their negative speech. We all know such kind of people. And as I always keep saying, these are the things which are very easy to notice in other people. But here on a spiritual path, it is not about others. It is just about us. It is very important that we keep reflecting and keep evaluating. If I am such kind of a person who is negative and who manipulates for own selfish interests. The last impurity that I'm going to share today now is actually the most important, and that is lying. We all know and we all lie some or the other time, either to make our life easier, or to hide things from others, or to make ourselves look superior in the eyes of others. And because everybody does that, we feel it is acceptable. But let me tell you, for a spiritual seeker, it is not acceptable at all that you lie. By lying, what we are doing is we are corrupting and we are polluting our own mind. Not only do we lose trust with other people, not only does it impact the relationships, but actually the maximum damage which is done is to our own self, is done to our own mind. So these are the 5 impurities that I have talked about. I will just recap them. First is excessive and aimless talking. Second is vulgar speech. Third is being unmindful of others. Fourth, negative and manipulative speech. And fifth, lying. Now let us see how do we purify our speech? What are some of the tips that we can use and apply to purify our speech? For the first one, which is excessive talking, become mindful and start practicing silence. When you start practicing purification of excessive talking, there are 3 questions that you can ask yourself before speaking. First, is it true? Second, is it kind? Third, is it useful? If all the answers are yes, then go ahead and talk. If even one answer is no, then do not speak. Keep quiet. And it will do a lot of good to you, because we lose so much energy by just talking. That energy can easily be utilized in doing your spiritual practices. Second, vulgar speech. Check your company. Mostly vulgar speech is picked up because the people around you are also very commonly using those words or phrases. And we all have a natural tendency to just imitate what others are doing. So change your company, start interacting or staying with people who use positive speech or kind speech, and you will again naturally pick that up. As I said, the vulgar speech is not only harmful for other people, it is extremely harmful for the mind of a spiritual seeker. As you will progress in your spiritual practices, you will realize how these little things bring you down. So be aware of this. Third, being mindful of others. That means I do not speak too loudly in crowded places. If I really need to make a call or need to talk, then I could either message or maybe find a place where there is a little quiet and then speak instead of shouting on the phone in the presence of many people. Again, if I need to talk to someone, maybe I could take that person aside and speak to that person instead of screaming. Maybe 1 or 2 sentences would be okay, but I don't need to have the entire conversation then and there. If I'm in conversation with another person and a phone rings, I may check if it is something that can be avoided. I can just switch that off, and I must give my attention to the person I'm talking to. And if the call is really important, then I can excuse myself and ask the person that I need to take this call. If I am talking to someone on the phone and there's another person who is vying for my attention where I am, I could either gesture that I am talking on the phone. And if it is something important that I need to talk, then again, excuse myself on the phone with the other person and tell them, just 1 minute, please. And then finish your conversation with the person in front of you and come back to the phone. Now, these are very simple things, but when we don't do them, as I said, we just show our insensitivity to other people. We are only showing how selfish we are. So for a spiritual seeker, it is very important to be aware of these things. Negative and manipulative speech. I'm kind of assuming here that if you are someone on a spiritual path, there are very less chances that you would be manipulative or negative. I don't know many people who are on a spiritual path and still negative or manipulative. But still, it is quite possible that you may have negativity or some kind of manipulative behavior in you because of the kind of people you deal with, because of your job. Maybe the job requires that you say nice things to other people. In case you need to do that, it is important for survival, then do that very knowingly, do that in awareness that yes, this is what I need to do, and do it only to a minimal. But if it is not for the survival process, I would say you should just avoid it completely, because manipulative behavior is again making changes in your own mind. The manipulative speech impacts your brain, the kind of words that are being used. Your brain and your body knows that you are being manipulative. It will impact you sooner or later. Similarly, negative speech. Be aware of your own negativity. Mostly we use negative speech with others because we are trying to relieve ourselves, because or we feel better when we see that other people have also become a little negative, because it puts us on the same bandwidth. But that is not something very positive. So if you have negativity, find out why you are so negative. Go deep into it. Check with your teacher, check with the person who is guiding you that you have this negativity, and how do you deal with it. You will be shared practices to deal with it. Don't take it out on others. Don't make it a part of your speech. And it will also make you very mindful that you cannot use negative speech. And the last point is lying. As I said, in society, lying is so easily acceptable that we cannot think of our lives, we cannot think of conducting ourselves in the society by staying truthful. And I understand that. But if you are a spiritual seeker, then there are no excuses. You are not expected to lie. So what do? If your relationships are like that, if your job is like that, which needs that you lie, I would say change. What is more important? Are those relationships or job which are more important? Or is your spiritual evolution that is more important? So make changes. Second, if you need to hide something, instead of lying, tell the other person, tell the truth that I cannot share it with you. It is not allowed. And if the person is intelligent enough, then they would understand. And if they are not intelligent, then you don't even need to bother about them. And a very important aspect here is that you become very sensitive to your own lying. How do you become sensitive? Stay aware, and you'll see that as you are about to lie, your mind will immediately warn you that you are going to lie. And if you lie because of habit or because of the situation, it will hurt you so much that you will not be able to afford to lie again. Trust me, it works beautifully. If you are sensitive to your own lying, you are not going to lie. It will not only build trust with others, at the same time, you will have such peace of mind, which is so very important as you take on the spiritual path higher and higher up. And what are the benefits of speaking the truth? What are the benefits of purification of speech? Well, your speech will produce miracles. It will become so pure, it will become so powerful that whatever you say will start coming true. Whatever you say, people will listen to you. Whatever you say will have a positive effect on the minds of other people. That is what the speech does to you. And this is for others, also for your own mind. The more purified the speech, the more purified your mind will be. And we always say that on a spiritual path, the purification of the mind is very important, because only to a purified mind can a guru reveal the essence. Only a purified mind is capable of understanding and abiding in the essence. So I hope this helped you. Thank you very much for listening, and I will see you again very soon.